welcome to the second edition of our show. Now, join us at 10 a.m. Central African Time to get to know the most exciting events that are taking place here today. Now, the AGRF 2020 Summit will focus on Feed the Cities, Grow the Continent. Governments, the civil society, and the private sector, research community, and of course, the developmental partners are here to explore ways to leverage the urban food markets to achieve sustainable food systems here in Africa. Now, for the ones joining us for the very first time in the forum, every day is dedicated to a specific theme. Resilience, nutrition and health, markets and trade, food systems. Yesterday, resilience guided all the discussions, and today we focus on nutrition and health. But before we do that, let's enjoy a spoken word from where.
Oh, Africa, motherland, give me some of your magic. From my roots, let it rise up through the steam and blooming with the flowers, filling up the whole treasure that you hold wrapped up in small crops. For your magic gives life. Look at the farmer's sweat. Look at the children's joy from a single bite. Look at the sorrow of the hungry ones, longing to find you, for everything to feel right, and release your magic, for your magic gives life. Oh, motherland, forgive us for everything that went wrong. We don't blame us. We blame you and the climate change confusing us, forgetting we are the ones burning all the leaves to dust, causing chaos and resources to fade too fast. So we fail. Oh, motherland, forgive us. We keep giving you less and asking for more. Is it that we're ignorant or something worse? Some keep telling us about this bright future to come, but when we talk about strategies to get there, we miss some. And again, we fail. For just one small portion of your magic in the seed can satisfy 1,000. Give me more for those who don't have food at all, who went to work for our countries in big cities, in the middle of the buildings, and are struggling to find you where you were in the beginning. And please release your magic, for you're a magic giver. Oh, motherland, have you heard what has been going on lately? People are not working, especially in cities. Help me feed them, grow more of your seeds. They're counting on us and more of your good deeds. So please release your magic, for you're a magic giver. Have you heard? She said that the food systems need to be resilient, equitable, sustainable, and capable of meeting the global challenges of malnutrition, poverty, and climate change. Aren't you proud? We are trying our best to make the most out of it, out of your gift, and sharing it with those who don't have enough. Can't you see? The whole continent is bringing you back at the core of everything, pushing all your projects, raising awareness of all your riches, bringing you as far as we can, bringing you this far. All eyes are looking at you. Big cities are praising you. You are our biggest hope, our biggest pride, our biggest treasure. For your magic is life. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Now, let me hope that you have enjoyed that spoken word by Weir. I now want to introduce our youth presenters, but first I'd like to apologize for yesterday's technical difficulties. Now, this is our first time we are running the AGRF Summit virtually, and hopefully all will be great today. Now, let me call upon my very young youth presenters. We'll be joined by Neema Mutemi. Good morning, Neema.
Morning, Fiona. Good to see you today.
Good to see you too today. Now, Neema Mutemi is the board chair of the 4H Foundation in Kenya, a youth organization. She has been working with 4H experts to design programs to increase the contribution of agribusiness and youth engagement in the value chains. Mashiri, good morning.
Morning, Fiona.
Now, Mashiri Zavirmwa is an agribusiness and digital innovation expert who was part of the task force Rural Africa set up by the European Commission. Next, we have Olivier Muvandimge. Waramutse, Olivier, good morning.
Good morning.
Olivier Muvandimge is the Rwanda Youth in Agribusiness Forum Program Manager. He's responsible for all technical activities related in agriculture and livestock. I'm now joined by Ifi. Ifi Umna, good morning.
Good morning, Fiona.
Ifi is the program lead for Nourishing Africa, a knowledge and membership platform that is meant for African entrepreneurs to scale their agribusiness. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I'll go straight to you, Neema. Now, day 2, and we are focusing on what needs or what will be feeding our stomachs and the soul. Of course, we'll be talking about food. We know that Africans love their food, but many traditional ingredients and recipes are not that popular anymore. How do we get Africans to be proud of their food again?
Yeah, Fiona, Africans have always been proud of their food, but traditional foods may not always be accessible to them. So it's an issue of access. The more Africans move to cities, both within the continent and abroad, the harder it becomes for them to maintain the traditional diets. There are, however, many initiatives by both government and non-state actors to change this, and I hope that they're going to be showcased throughout the day-to-day. For instance, in Kenya, we love our leafy vegetables. And we always maintain a connection with our relatives in the villages to send us dried vegetables in sacks and even in suitcases for those who are traveling abroad. And due to the growing demand of traditional vegetables by Kenyans living in the US, Kisii University has partnered with the University of Minnesota Extension to build the capacity of women groups to increase production of traditional vegetables for the US market.
Absolutely. How then can we get, healthy and nutrient-rich foods into the hands of urban dwellers? Because I believe those in the rural areas already enjoy this food.
Yeah, Fiona, I think because we have adopted a sedentary lifestyle in the cities, in addition to bad eating habits, urban malnutrition and incidences of lifestyle diseases have put us at poor health risk. Additionally, urbanites like ourselves are creatures of convenience. So the challenge is accessing quickly and affordably, However, I believe that a revolution has already started to reverse this. As we continually see nutrition being put on the top policy agenda. I think yesterday we saw quite a number of governments. We had governors, from all over Africa, and we also had ambassadors talking about that. And another example is, because of COVID, nutrition has been put top and front of the agenda. In Kenya, we had the 1 Million Kitchen Gardens campaign, specifically targeting Nairobi, Kisumu, and Mombasa counties, which are the counties that have the lowest consumption of vegetables. However, we also have this campaign also targeting rural communities. Remember, we are not in a silo. So in Kenya, the Ministry of Agriculture also has, plans to boost the consumption of fish, for instance, from 4 to 10 kilos per capita that for the annual consumption. Another way is, through research and policy interventions. So in Kenya, for instance, the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service that we call KEFIS, and the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, KALRO, have been at the forefront developing research around the sweet potato. And I think we'll be seeing a photo, So the orange-fleshed sweet potato is fortified with vitamin A. And we are partnering as 4H with KEFIS to see how 4H clubs can be contracted to multiply the sweet potato vine so that they can make it available to their families and communities. Because the sweet potato is an example of a quick breakfast that, urban people can have in the morning. Other examples are, the ministry, Agri-Nutrition Department has been working with the Ministry of Health, FAO, WFP, Nestle, USAID, GIZ, and other partners to develop national guidelines, national on nutrition, so that we can be more aware of how nutrition sensitive we are or we are not, so that we can be able to know that. Another one is actually making it easier for us to purchase food that is already nutrient dense or nutrient smart. And a good example in Kenya is the national flour blending regulations that have been developed by government in consultation with others. And lastly, making information on food and nutrition publicly available. FAO and the Ministry of Agriculture here in Kenya and the Ministry of Health as well, put together the Kenya recipe book, which makes it easier for you to cook traditional recipes, So if you forgot about how to eat cassava, for instance, or even sweet potato, there's step-by-step guidelines on that, and including how to blend meals so that you have a balanced diet for your family. On attitude and behavior change, we need to incorporate a component of fun. In the last World Food Day, for instance, we had the governor of Makueni practically doing the exercises of raising a seed bed for his vegetables in public in front of everyone else, so that he can exemplify, good behavior change towards adapting better diet. So all that, and it requires many partners. I'm really excited to hear the sessions today because there are so many examples of what can be done.
Absolutely, Neema. But before I let you go, what would you say then is your favorite traditional food?
My favorite traditional food is cassava, actually.
Cassava.
And, we have seen examples of how children can make cassava more popular to their parents and emulate this behavior change. In Kilifi, where we partnered with the Agriculture Sector Development Support Program, ASDSP, funded by SIDA, the Swedish International Development Agency, through a project that FAO was also partnering with us to teach them about, the cassava, which is seen as a poor man's, diet, because it's what used to be consumed in the worst of a famine. So teaching, and also you find that it has stigma because many of the adults believe that cassava kills because it tends to have cyanide poisoning. So it's also teaching them, some public information about cyanide poisoning. You teach it to the kids, and the children demystify that. They eat different types of cassava meals in the education programs in school, and they're able to teach that back at home. So thank you, Fiona.
Oh, thank you very much, Neema, and to the rest of the team, of course, we'll catch you shortly as we continue with the discussions. Now, one of the dishes of the day is presented by Chef Mukadi Itsweng. She will be cooking a delicious South African dish using sorghum, an ancient and ingenious grain. Now, the choice brings memories from her own childhood and aims to get back to urban tables an ingredient that was once part of the South African daily meals. Let's take a look.
Now, sorghum I love sorghum. Sorghum is one of those ingredients. It's one of those ancient grains that are indigenous to Africa and have been forgotten. It's packed with protein. It's packed with antioxidants, vitamins. It's one of those superfood grains. Boil it like you would a porridge. Place a teaspoon and then just close it like you would arancini. Switch on the oven, put them at 180 to 200 degrees, and I'm gonna bake them for 30 minutes. There's our sorghum balls fritters. You can call them balls, you can call them fritters, with a nice salad. Delicious. It's crunchy outside, it's soft, it's spicy, it's sour. It's perfect.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Chef Mukadi. And I'm hoping that some of us will try that recipe of sorghum. Now, I would like to welcome our very special guest for the day, Dr. Fadel Ndiame, the Deputy President of the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa. Now, Dr. Fadel Ndiame joined AGRA in 2011, a rural development expert. He has over 30 years of experience in agriculture and economic development policies. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. How would you say the summit is going so far?
So far, so good. It's amazing that the first virtual summit of our era is taking place in Kigali. And we are very impressed with the level of participation and the quality of the discussion.
Now, today is focused, of course, on nutrition. Can you give us a few examples of the work that AGRA is working on nutrition?
Yes, I can. Clearly, firstly recognizing the significance of nutrition for ourselves and for our African people. As we know, one of the areas where Africa is not doing very well, the level of malnutrition and undernutrition is really very bad. And as AGRA with partners, we focus on making sure that there is a comprehensive set of responses across the value chain, starting with what is produced, how diverse it is, making sure that we have also a diversified cropping system, not only based on cereal, but also including vegetable, fish, etc. Making sure that food is accessible to all components of society, and making sure that there is an incentive to produce and promote healthy food, not only through production, but also in the way we consume. So it's a comprehensive plan to really reverse the course in the area of malnutrition.
Absolutely, Dr. Ndiame. When we think about how to build better, for Africa, what can Africa do? Because like you've mentioned, we are seeing some parts of Africa that children are malnourished. We're seeing some children are stunting. There's no the expected growth that they deserve, they do not get it. Yet we have the best food, in the continent. How can we change this?
Yeah, I think it's a comprehensive action plan, starting with creating more awareness around issue of nutrition at all levels, starting at the family level, making sure that there is a diversified set of food. In all African countries, they have their own specific crops and food that will provide the level of nutrition and nutrient that is required. We need a lot of emphasis on education, making sure that there is a sensitivity to what especially the children, when they are very young, they required in order to grow fully to their full potential. From a research point of view, a lot of progress is being made, through biofortification, for instance, and making sure that the crop, the cassava, the rice, the beans are really provided with the right nutrition that enable our people to have the right quality of food. But beyond that, you need a significant education of consumers, so that they are aware of what they need in order to have a healthier, a more balanced diet. It'll require a significant work in terms of policy in creating incentives for farmers, SMEs, and the people who are across the value chain to make all this food available and affordable for the majority of people.
Absolutely. So it is important to note that it is quality and not quantity.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
My pleasure, madam. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Now, investing in a new generation of agripreneurs will help create jobs, increase food production, and ultimately create inclusive growth. Now, the Go Getters Prize is helping to change lives of several young agripreneurs in the future, and of course, especially for Africa. So let's take a look at that.
My name is Isaac Sessi, and I am from Kumasi, Ghana. I am the founder of Sessi Technologies, which develops affordable technologies for farmers and businesses in Africa to help them reduce losses, maximize profits, and increase productivity. In 2019, we won the $50,000 Go-Getters Agripreneur Prize. This changed our business for the better. Winning the prize has helped us develop our product further, invest in scaling our manufacturing capacity, and has helped us invest more in marketing and business development. We've even added 3 new people to the team, and opportunities keep coming to us by the day. And here's my message to all agripreneurs in Africa. Africa needs your solutions. The opportunities are there. Just when you feel like giving up, know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So keep going and let's make Africa great. See ya.
Well, I'm sure we'll all agree with my, youth presenters that the opportunities are there, and it's especially for us, the young Africans, to take up on these roles. So we have another exciting day ahead of us, and I'm sure our youth presenters are keen to tell us what they are looking forward to today. I'll start off with you, Ife. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Fiona.
So what sessions are you planning to attend today?
Well, there are 4 sessions I'm particularly excited about today. The first is the policy and state capability sessions on feeding and employing Africa's urban population at 11. With the rising rates of urban migration and poverty within cities in Africa, it's vital for us to understand and identify strategies and initiatives that can ensure that we don't create a crisis that leaves rural areas sparse and then urban dwellers unable to feed themselves. It's also really important that we create jobs and opportunities in these cities for the rising population, and particularly for young people. Africa is literally the only continent in the world that's getting younger in population age. And according to the UN, it's projected that the number of youths in Africa will increase by 42% by 2030, and the majority of Africans will be classified as youth by 2050. So based on these stats, we have to ensure that we create adequate and meaningful employment for us. And there's no other sector that can successfully absorb this large number of people better than the agriculture and food space. So I'm really excited to hear what these experts have to say on this. The second session is the Good Food for All Chefs Talk. Some of my favorite African chefs are among those highlighting the importance of their work. And in fact, Chef Michael Elegbede was one of the first chefs we engaged at Nourishing Africa. And through our interview with him, it was clear that his passion for food just stood out. Today, he tells stories about Nigerian history and culture through food, and doing so in a nutritious, innovative, and unique way. In fact, he actually highlights various ways that traditional ingredients can be used with a modern twist. So I'm really excited for him and the other chefs to talk more about this. The third session I'm definitely tuning into is the Advancing Gender and Nutrition session at 2 p.m. And I really want to quickly contextualize the importance of this session. Venetia Makarati, who founded a hydroponic startup business called 160 Hydro Farms in Zimbabwe, along with her team, which actually includes her daughter, is not only engaging in tech and innovation through hydroponic farming of fresh vegetables in urban settings. She's a part of a mother-daughter duo that is now teaching courses to women in cities on how to grow soilless farming, so that they too can start businesses and create wealth and better nutrition in their communities and in their households. And it's really stories like this that truly exemplifies the need for us to ensure that we support businesses and initiatives that are advancing gender and nutrition in Africa. And as I said yesterday, women's rights, nutrition, and economic mobility is incredibly important to me. So it's really great to see another session around this topic. Lastly, I'll be checking in to watch foremost leaders, including Ndidi Okonkwo Umuleni, unpack nutrition indicators at the plenary session at 5 o'clock today. I really want to get some insight on how we can move forward and improve our ailing nutritional stats across the continent. It's also great to know that the keynote is going to be delivered by Dr. Chu Jongwoo, the FAO Director General. And as Africans, we really need to do better on this front. So I'm definitely going to listen out for practical steps on how we can improve on our nutrition before it's too late, Fiona.
Well, thank you very much, Ife, and I'm sure the rest of our viewers will be tuning in with you as we learn more on gender nutrition, feeding and employment, and of course, urban planning, urban population, dish, and also dish for the day. Olivier, how are you excited for the second day, and what do you intend to tune in today during the second day of the summit.
Thank you, Fiona, once again. It is a pleasure to speak with you again, and I hope that everyone will enjoy the session as it was yesterday, despite some technical challenges occurred, as you mentioned. So today I'm planning to attend the session of Farm Forum and ReadyThread on the Farm Forum, which will start at 2 p.m. The participants, who are mostly farmers and the farmer network, farmers organizations, farmer delegation, federations, and farmers producers, farmer youth networks will be discussing on how the farmers who are considered most important in maintaining food system can survive recent challenges and increase they can just increase resilience based on the challenge encountered. So they will be giving us example how to cope with the actual crisis and build back better and become stronger enough to challenge any crisis which could come in a way of food system. And remember, when we say food system, include all the processes and infrastructure involved in feeding populations. Including sourcing, production inputs, growing or rearing animals, harvesting, processing, packaging, transporting, marketing, everything, including disposal of food and food-related items. Finally, it is a food for health and wealth. As an outcome from all this food system. So the most interesting today is the participant in this session understand well every step of these processes, and I know how to relate them with the theme of today, nutrition and health, as well as the resiliency that we saw just tomorrow. So there will be a kind of sharing a better experience for better, and I'm looking forward to hear from this session. Thereafter, a ladies' thread will start at 6:15 p.m. and will be moderated by well-known African Kenyan journalist Jeff Kwanange. I don't know if I pronounced it well. In this session, the high-level guest from research institution, international organization like USAID, and so on will link the way nutritious food create a healthy city through greater social equity, help people, and also energize the workforce. So I remember in yesterday by the threat under moderation of Jeff Konanje, different speakers around the world made everyone to think that a threat like COVID-19, locust, and so on has found fragility in our food system. And the conversation kept on how to make food system more resilient. So then, and today I'm looking forward to hear from how nutritious food creates a healthy city, and so on. In a nutshell, what makes me very excited is that following well, this session is a good way of catch up, as it will provide just like an overall summary of what we talked about the whole day. As you know, you cannot attend all the session at once, but attending on these last sessions will give me the feedback about everything that was spoken for this session. Thank you very much, Fiona.
Thank you very much, Olivier. Hi, Mashiri.
Hi, Fiona.
So what are you looking forward to today, and what sessions will you be attending?
Well, so my focus today is on 2 sessions. The first one is coming up at 11 a.m. Central African Time, and it's called Maintaining Technology and Input Delivery Systems. And the speakers during this session will discuss the current limitations and constraints of local food systems and give suggestions on solutions that promote farmers' access to inputs, technologies, and credit. And as you may know, Fiona, the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown measures that were implemented globally disrupted trade and supply chains, making it more difficult to feed the urban population, and therefore making it more necessary for us to find resilient strategies for our local food systems. And just as a background to this session, Fiona, you would realize that during the globally implemented lockdown measures due to COVID pandemic, many retailers and agro dealers were finding it difficult to distribute inputs to their farmers, to also, and for farmers as well, to get inputs from the dealers and retailers due to the fragility of the infrastructure within the rural areas. And you know that the rural areas actually the center of the African small farming communities. This is where most of the food actually that feed the cities comes from. So the failure and the fragility of that infrastructure to deliver inputs to farmers would also trickle down back to the cities, where it would be difficult for urban dwellers to get nutritious and healthy food. As you would know that today the theme is on nutrition and health. So this would definitely have impacted a lot on urban dwellers in terms of how they would then access nutritious, healthy food like vegetables and fruits. So I'm looking to hear from the speakers how they are going to address the threats that we saw actually coming up as a result of COVID-19 and the lockdowns again, where we saw in some instances what I would call food and input nationalism, where some countries would ban or limit the export of certain food items to those countries that were actually reliant on imports of food and imports. So I think really it will be necessary for discussions during this session to make sure that they touch on that and see that going forward, how best can we make sure that in such times of a pandemic or a tragedy, how do we keep our food systems open? How do we keep our food flowing to and back between the exporters and importers, so that we don't leave the other parts of the region starving. And my thinking really regarding to that is that we need really a territorial approach to development, where we incentivize the local actors like these retailers and agro dealers in these rural areas to make sure that they keep going there and making sure that their business environment there is conducive, because it is not easy for these agro dealers and other business players to be present and actively engaging with the communities in rural areas. There is a bit of a higher cost of running operations and the like. So we need to make sure that they get incentivized so that they can find more reason and more motivation to be operational in that space. And I'm really hopeful that through digitalization and technology, these retailers and other players in rural areas can also use, like, for example, the just-in-time technology to make sure that they reduce on the time that they spend on, or the costs rather that they spend on warehousing and storage, so that they just deliver what needs to be picked up already, and then they don't have to incur much costs. I could go on and on, but I think let me quickly jump onto my next session that is coming at 6:15 Central African time. And it's called Strengthening the Ecosystem for Young African Entrepreneurs. And again, on this one, I think this is my favorite. So far, it would be my favorite for the conference. And I'm willing to bet it's gonna be on one of my top favorites for the whole conference, because I strongly believe that innovative entrepreneurship and building ecosystems of innovative entrepreneurship for young people is really key to job creation and also to reducing hunger or even ending hunger, malnutrition, and the like. And I believe during this session, discussions will address how the ecosystem actors can collaboratively support young entrepreneurs to scale sustainable solutions in terms of access to agricultural finance and insurance, knowledge, and technology. And this session will be obviously led by Generation Africa as a platform, together with other partners that also support the improvement of these agripreneurship ecosystems. And for those who may not know, Generation Africa basically inspires young entrepreneurs in the agri-food sector. So it is really exciting to hear all these topics coming up during this conference. And I believe that through innovative partnerships of knowledge sharing and networking, we will actually be able to strengthen this ecosystem for young entrepreneurs. So again, I call upon all young people and entrepreneurs to tune in at 6:15 Central African time to make sure that we would benefit from insights from these seasoned experts and speakers. And lastly, I believe strengthening the strategies to attract more young people in the agri-food sector is really key. we need to hear them speaking about how they intend to attract more young people into the agricultural sector so that we can grow this ecosystem. Thank you, Fiona.
Well, thank you very much, Mashiri. Thank you very much, Ife. Thank you very much, Olivier Nema. Thank you for joining us today, and I wish you a very productive day. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. So just stay with us as we continue to enjoy another celebration of our African culture.
Zururyo